Welcome to the Rude Dude Cast. Rude Cast!
Hello. Welcome to episode 189 of the
Hello.
Rude Dude Cast. What's up? It's BMT and Dr. Dan here on a Sunday morning. I'm not shouting because my family's taking a morning nap, because that's what you do when you wake up at 6:30 in the morning with an 11-month-old. You go out to breakfast at 8 a.m. and you come back and you go back to sleep at like 9:45. We are here for episode 189 of the Rude Dude Cast, the culmination of our Paper Girls series, episode 8, It Be Over. And that is the reaction I did to have, Dan, to this episode.
It be over, yeah.
It Be Over. Dan, how you doing today? I like your shirt, for those watching on YouTube.
Thank you. Yes. So,
I realize that you have a collection of tie-dye-esque shirts with logos on them now.
I just
Somehow
like
you've
tie-dye.
fallen into it. Since when? You
I
hate
just like
hippies.
I like the tie-dye shirts. I don't like the hippie tie-dye shirts. I like this is like the non-hippie tie-dye shirts. It has
The
a
new metal
pentagram on
hippie
it.
shirt.
Yeah, it's like the new metal hippie. This is the shirts that if you grew up a new metal kid that you wear now in 2022.
Yeah.
You know.
How you doing?
No,
Your
this
beard
is
looks
sick.
tight.
Thank you. Yeah, I got a haircut, even though you can't really tell. I got the standard pro wrestler haircut where your hair is still long on top, but then you just shave the side this this is the
You-
Hangman Adam Page, the
Yeah.
Roman Reigns Seth Rollins special.
The Seth Rollins special.
The Seth Rollins special. I'm pretty sure. No, it was like Triple H invented that haircut. I'm pretty sure. Or like the Undertaker. I'm pretty sure. If you want to go back, I don't know. But
Some
yeah.
long-haired goon. Anyway,
Yeah.
I just want to say thanks everybody who's been here with us on this journey from the 8 different countries. Thank you for listening, for telling your friends about the podcast. We might go back into hibernation after this is over.
Yeah.
Or we might just pop up random episodes. Don't unsubscribe. Keep it in your podcast
Hey,
app. What's up?
I'm just saying, I'm down. I'll just putting it out there at the top of the podcast. I'm down to do like this week
Special
a
episodes.
Westworld season 4 review special or something like that. If we want to keep
Okay.
it going for one more episode this
I
week.
mean, we're
or
going to talk
something.
about it anyway. Might as well throw it on a podcast. I like that mug. Anyway,
Thank you.
so let's jump into this episode. It Be Over, Paper Girls, Amazon Prime, directed by Marzi Almus, written by Stephanie Folsom. She was the creative. Brian K. Vaughan. The Old Watch invades Larry's farm, leaving the girls one chance to get home to 1988. The girls were still stuck here in what seems like forever in 1999. They've been there for at least 3 of the episodes.
Just
Uh,
go ahead.
so we finally have like this, the showdown, and it didn't feel that like important till the end. The overall vibe was like, oh, shit's fucked. It was getting good, and like we keep saying, like, and over again, like there's not much to say about the show other than the acting is great and the writing is good and the CGI is horrible.
Yeah, it's bad.
Horrible.
It's bad.
This was the finale, dude, and this was the worst CGI out of all of them. When that dinosaur is first there, it looked like something out of, what was that show in the 90s with the blue people that was like virtual reality looking?
VR Troopers,
No, it was like blue. It
Big
was on,
Bad
like,
Beetleborgs.
no, they weren't real people. It was like,
I don't know.
oh God. It was like, blue. I'm literally Googling 90s cartoon blue kids. Like, and it was like a dog
No.
also. It was like not a good show.
I don't know.
But anyway, it was terrible. It was not any sort of good show at all. but that's what it looked like. It didn't look like anything that anybody would want to watch. And like it was very poorly done. Like I thought it was very poorly done. And it took me right out of the show, like right out of it. It was not like something I was like, oh shit, there's a dinosaur here. Like the girl's reaction to the dinosaur, besides Mac, was like that dinosaur was gonna fucking eat us. And like
Yeah.
when the dinosaur ate like Larry, spoiler alert, like it was like
Classic
terrible.
Rude Dude cast. We do the spoiler alert after the spoiler.
Yeah.
But if you're listening to a season finale discussion, why haven't you watched the episode yet? You know what I mean?
That is a Rude Dude casting. I don't know what it is. Everything I keep finding is fucking Blues Clues. So, we get Larry's death, and it's like whatever. Like but the girls,
second Larry, Larry 1999 Larry
right?
dies
Right,
again.
but-
He's like Kenny.
Did he die another time?
Yeah, he died in 2019. Larry died, and then 1999 Larry died again.
Oh God.
Didn't he? He got eaten by the pterodactyl, right? Yeah, he died again.
Yeah.
He's
So
Kenny.
the girls have like kind of made this decision to like either like try to go, like I guess they were ready to go back home, but like, I don't know. Mac finally tells everybody that she is dying, and
Yeah.
when they're in the basement, and like just all the stuff with the girls was so good. And then all of a sudden we get this random face turn from Prioress because, and it was very like poorly done. And that's why I said the writing was good and not great. Or maybe even not good, but like, and I was talking to my sister about this because she watched the show, did not read the comics, but she watched the show. She was like, so when they got onto the spaceship,
Yeah.
which like they were going to get abluted, like they were going to
Yes.
get they were going to get like memory wiped, right?
Yeah.
But like I don't know where they were going or what they were doing, but they were there. That looked like shit, the spaceship. However, when they zoomed out and you got to see more inside the spaceship, that's more or less basically what it looked like in the comic book. Like it
Yeah,
didn't
I
look, it
mean-
looked like future shit.
Yeah.
It just looked, but it did look cheap. It looked like Putty Patrol Power Rangers cheap, like set. And
It looked like
Which-
Rita's cat moon base, right?
yeah. And so
Rangers.
So what I need the explanation is Prioress, and by anybody who doesn't know who the fuck that is at this point, she is the woman that's after the girls. She realizes that Tiffany is Tiffany Quilkin from the Quilkin Institute, the institute that Tiffany starts, because Tiffany, this was really well done, hands herself, her future self, the 1999 Tiffany, a book that says like you create time travel, because Larry gave her the book of his coordinates. So because she had Larry's coordinate book and she finished like his like coordinate writing, he gives it to her, and she writes, you invent time travel, which then she gives to herself, and herself then creates the Tiffany Quilkin Institute of Time Travel in the future, which is like super well done writing, not really presented to the viewer well, because then we learn that like time is in a loop, like they're in a time loop, but we don't like it's not given to us the reason why that Prioress has the face turn, because she's like, oh shit, she creates time travel, she could be the key to ending the war, and that's why she kind of turns face to help them out.
Yeah.
But
Yes.
like she should have just said that to grandfather to begin with.
Yes.
She would have been like, yo, these girls can finish, like end the war, not like quick girls escape. Like she should have just told him.
Counterpoint, and I'm only playing devil's advocate here.
Yeah, please do.
I think maybe she knew grandfather, like the way he works mentally is like it's what Larry said like back in like episode like whatever episode Larry was first introduced, and he was explaining the old watch. He was saying like they only favor the timeline where they thrive, right? And maybe she knows that, and she knows that he would say no, fuck that, we don't thrive in that timeline, right? And he's gonna want to
Right.
continue the war, maybe.
Right. I forgot about that.
Maybe,
Like,
maybe, and maybe she just
we know
knows that
the-
ahead of time, you know?
yeah, the idea that like the grandfather character is selfish, even though like the idea is that they don't want people to change time.
Right.
So the girls we speed up because at this point they get separated. Prioress
Mhm.
gets shot, and Aaron like puts like the healing bugs on her. How the fuck she knew that those were them? It's beyond me. I know
She
they
knew because
used them for
on her. They were on her
yeah,
in like the
but
first
they were in the
episode.
pod. Yeah, so they were in the pods,
Yeah.
and then boom, girls get separated. Not enough dramatic music. It was dramatic. I was like, oh no, like when KJ and Mac get like pooped out by their spaceship, and then the other girls are left behind,
Yeah.
and then like Prius is like, go quick, and like
Brr.
that she goes and she's the other girls go, and I guess something happens and they get separated. We don't know. We don't know where Mac and KJ go. Leave that on a super cliffhanger. And then
presumably the future because I think they went to the future because
the idea
that's
was
what
they were trying to figure out how to cure the cancer.
cure Mac and also get Tiffany to future Tiffany. You know?
Right.
That's what Prioris's goal was, to get Tiffany. She didn't really give a fuck about Mac. She cared more about getting Tiffany to future Tiffany so she
Right.
could, stop the war. That's what Prioris's goal was. So and I think they definitely went to the future because like Prioris had time. She wasn't under pressure to like dial that shit in where she was sending their ship, like she didn't have a gunshot wound at the time. She just like dialed it in,
Sure.
So they should have, in theory, they should have went to the future. Now the other girls, Aaron and who was it? Aaron and Tiff. Wait, yeah, Aaron and Tiff. Their time travel got fucked up and they got sent to like the 60s or whatever because she was just like rushing to send them anywhere. You know what I mean? And like she just like did it really quick and like, there was soldiers coming and whatnot. So she had to just like send them wherever the fuck she could, right? So
Right.
I think that's why they got sent somewhere random. But there's always the possibility that Mac and KJ got sent somewhere else, right?
Right. So then we have Aaron and Tiffany end up, and like I called it right off the bat. I'm like, they're like in the cornfield of Larry's farm, but like in the past, and there's like a drive-in movie happening.
Right.
And so I believe it's the 70s.
Oh, 70s. I couldn't tell. I first thought it was the 50s. That's what my
somewhere
first thought
between
was.
the 50s and 70s. I'm gonna say 70s because I think 50s is too Back to the Future-esque.
Yeah.
Like I think that's like way too like copying Back to the Future.
Mm.
The cars, there was some like 60s cars there. So there was like a couple like Corvettes from the 60s. And like there was a big shot of like a stoner van kind of that drove by. So that usually
true,
like
true. Good
late
point.
60s, early 70s vibes.
Yeah.
So that's where the show ends. It ends on a super cliffhanger. Dan, overall thoughts of this episode as a finale?
I mean, it certainly got there in the end. Like I predicted it was going to end on a cliffhanger where they were going to travel and it was going to be like an oh fuck moment. I just thought, based off of what happens in the comic books, that they were going to be sent. I don't want to spoil exactly where they go in the comics because it may happen in the show in season 2 or 3 or something like that. I thought they were going to get sent back way further in time into the past. Mike, you might know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we didn't get that cliffhanger, but we got, the 50s instead. So, I mean, it ended in a time travel cliffhanger where there's that like realization like, oh shit, this isn't the future. So we got the same kind of ending that I thought it was going to end off on. As a whole, yeah, I mean, I think the farm stuff was kind of boring. Like the first, act 1 and 2 of this episode dragged ass, and then like once they got on the Old Watch's ship, it was like, oh, business is picking up. Cool, we're finally
we finally like
new,
yeah, we kind of left like the familiar scenarios of like future Tiffany's 1999 Tiffany's apartment and the farm, pretty much.
Yeah,
like it's where they were all hanging.
And not to keep comparing it to The Walking Dead because it's such a different story and such a different show, but it is similar in that it's based off a comic book and they fucking sucked that budget, and it's so similar.
Dude, this might have been the cheapest show like I've seen in a long time. Like, what was the last time you watched something this cheap looking? Like there was times where it looked really good. Like it looked really good. No, there was times where it looked really good.
Yeah.
Like that, like the apartment scenes, like the scenes where they were like in the apartment or at the movie theater or KJ's house, like they looked like this could be any show. But anytime there was something futuristic or CGI or Purple Light related. It looked so bad,
Yeah.
like so bad that you're like, man, they didn't care enough to put money into this. So why should I care about watching it? And I don't think it's going to retain viewers. And I
Yeah.
100% don't think it's going to get a second season. Like, I don't.
I think it could, because I was talking to you about this, right? Being that it looked like the show got a really low budget, right? They couldn't have sunk too much money into this. Amazon,
yes. I remember
I
you telling
think
me this.
it's feasible that they had such low expectations for this show that viewership wise, and obviously we have no idea what the show did, but based off of what we're seeing in terms of like, how like the production
Reception?
value
Yeah.
is, the show could have actually outperformed their expectations, and
It
and
might
could
have
get a second
outperformed.
season.
It got 90% average on Rotten Tomato when it was all said
Yeah.
and done. And the average audience score was 83%. So not like a total clunker. And I think we're being,
No.
we're being a little bit
Critical of it.
critical of it because we're just talking about it. Yeah. I think that the girls were amazing. Obviously, we talk about that every episode, like the girls.
Yeah,
and we said that before when we previewed the show, and we said that the trailer looked a little iffy. But we said that this, like Stranger Things or anything else, like it resides on the cast. And I think the casting was perfect. I don't think they could have casted a better cast for the 4 girls. Everybody else is whatever. They don't really matter. I actually think Jason Mantzoukas as the grandfather character,
he's good.
Is great.
Yeah,
the Prioris character is whatever. Older Erin was terrible. Older Tiffany was perfect.
She was good. Yeah.
So, and she's great acting
Max.
and great acting and great, just like straight up chemistry. Like the chemistry between them were great.
Yeah. Another standout, Mac's older brother from the 2019 timeline. That dude was really good in that role. But you know who to me, the star is Mac, which is crazy because, like we said in previous episodes of the Rude Dude cast, in the comic books, and speaking of, I did bust out Paper Girls issue 1, the physical copy. I want to show you guys something from this.
Oh yeah, guys, if you liked the show,
go read the comic.
Go read
I'm rereading it.
It's really not that hard of a read, and it's only 30 issues, which sounds like a lot. It's not. It just took forever to come out while they were putting it out.
Yeah.
But it's like 30 issues
they took
of
6-month breaks.
30 issues of a comic is not really a lot. Like, it's pretty quick.
I want to show you guys something, though. And also, and to what I was saying before, in the comic books, Erin is really like the main character. In the show, it's Mac, like, just because she's like the fucking standout. But one thing I want to say is really quick. Like, I don't want to show this because I don't want to get copyright detection off YouTube, But, like, just look at it. It's so washed out. And I was talking to Nate, former member of the Rude Dude cast. Like, the color palette of Paper Girls. This is that shot I was talking about where they're in front of the time machine that we did not get in the show. And this was like the one that I was saying is like, this is Rick Grimes walking into Atlanta. This is the Paper Girls stumbling across time travel. And that we didn't get that in the show. And that's what I was so disappointed in. But anyway, one thing I want to say about this comic book is that Nate brought up to me, former member of the Rude Dude cast, over the phone talking about this, was that the color palette of the Paper Girls comic book is pastel. It's the color palette of Easter. And they totally blew it on that. The color palette of this TV show is, look at our background, if you're watching on YouTube, is fucking neon purple. And it's just not what the comic book was. The comic book looked washed out and pastel, and it looked like every fucking day was Easter. And that's what I loved about the comic.
Dark blues.
Yes,
not bright Easter. Not bright Easter.
It's pastel. It was pastel. And all they had to do was throw an Instagram washed out filter on the show, and it would have looked just like the comic book. And
my argument was that I thought that would make it look too fake looking. It would take you out of it.
Maybe.
Yeah. So read the comic, because if you want any sort of resolution, I think that's what you should do, because I don't know if it's going to get a second season. And we'll
probably not.
We'll update you guys like on our social media and stuff if we find any news about it, or throughout time. Usually we don't find out that stuff for a little bit.
Yeah.
But there's also like, you'll get it'll resolve in the end. And there are things that on the show that hinted towards the ending of the story. Did you catch that at all, Dan? So
See, here's the thing. I don't remember how the comic book ends. I'm
you
rereading it
don't?
now. I'm rereading it now, and I'm on issue 2. And I completely forgot how it ends. I don't remember at all. The last thing I remember from the comic books is them in the future world. I don't remember anything after that.
Okay, then we won't say anything else. I won't say anything. Um, if there is a season 2, I will watch. I would hope other people would too. But
Yeah, I'll watch it. We'll cover it.
yeah. Do you have anything else you want to say about it? Anything about the actors, the writers, the director, the show in general? We've already harped about the CGI. Music was great. Music was great the whole season.
Yeah.
A bigger
Actually,
budget would be nice.
yeah. And if there is a season 2, maybe they'll say, "Hey, let's throw some more money at this and see if it does better." Um, Yeah, no, not really. I mean, just want to sing the praises of the cast. Like those little kids killed it. Um, you know, and like I said, especially Mac. I thought she was the standout of everyone. Tiffany too. Like that kid also pretty good.
Oh yeah.
They're all good. They're all good in their own rights. So
Mhm.
good job. Good job, girls. Good job. You killed it. And I was harsh on them the first couple of issues, the first couple of episodes of the podcast covering this show. I was harsh on them, and that's
Well,
because
you
go
weren't
ahead.
wrong, man. Because based off of like user ratings on IMDb and Metacritic scores,
It goes up over time.
the first 2 episodes were ranked the lowest.
The lowest, sure. But
Yeah.
I think for me, and maybe it's the same for everyone, Paper Girls, it's not a well-known comic book. It's not like Saga, you know what I mean? Like no one knows what Paper Girls is. It's really didn't like blow up or anything as a comic book. And I think because of that, like as someone that read it like 5, 6, 7 years ago, it's like I don't know if you're this way, but I'm this way all the time when like a video game that I played gets made into a show or a movie, like they're like Uncharted, right? Like I feel this protectiveness over the original story. And
Oh,
I'm like,
sure.
I want it to be perfect and I want people to experience it the same way I experienced it, but it's just not that way. And so I think like every time something like this comes out where like a comic book or a video game gets turned into a movie or a show, I have this like protection over the characters where I'm just like, they have to be just like the comic books, if not better. And it just takes me a while to get used to the human being portraying the role of a fucking cartoon. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And it's the same with The Walking Dead, right? Like Andrew Lincoln playing Rick Grimes. Andrew Lincoln looks nothing like comic book Rick. They look like two different humans.
Right.
But then after you watch like 5 episodes of The Walking Dead, you're like, oh, this guy's better than the comic. You know what I mean? And I think it's the same thing with Paper Girls, right? Because now going back reading the comic book, I'm like, oh man, Mac on the show is way better than Mac in the comic book. You know what I mean? And it's like, you know, that's just what it is. It just takes me a while to get used to the human, you know, the human version of the character. That's all.
This is great. So I was trying to find out what the budget was, and I see this big article from Polygon. It says, Paper Girls is acutely aware of how much growing up sucks, Time War or not. Give this Amazon Prime comic adaptation a higher budget already. And then it says here, where was it here? It's hard not to wonder what kind of visual magic might have happened on screen if this show had a Stranger Things budget, or if the live action proceedings were animated instead of rendered in the flesh. We're as such, we are left with one of the blandest giant robot fights to ever hit the small screen. Thank you. That's what I said. I know you liked it, Dan.
No,
I thought
I
that
didn't
robot
like
fight
it.
was terrible.
No, I didn't like it, and it was terrible. But for where my expectations were for the CGI, it did surpass what I thought the show was going to be capable of. Still not saying it's good. I'm just saying the bar is low.
The
know?
sequence is thankfully short, but it stands out as the worst ways. You'll find more action in imagining watching a 7-year-old play with bionicles on the carpet. The villains and their motivations are also thinly drawn. That's true.
Yeah.
We agree. They're saying everybody kind of has the same opinion of the show, which is a good thing. It's not always great when it's all over the place because that means like nobody really cared. Like I think people cared about the show.
it bugs me because it's just like they said with like a Stranger Things budget, and I just think the show was in the wrong hands. You know what I mean? I think I just know how good it could have been if it was Netflix or HBO. Imagine, and I'm not talking HBO Max. I'm not talking Made for Love. I'm talking about, I'm talking about HBO original Westworld budget. Give it a Westworld budget and imagine
Dude,
how
that's
good it
that's
could
like
be
$1 million.
then.
That's so much money.
I know, but imagine how good it would have been in that case, right?
Yeah.
That never would have happened for a story like this though. But
Hey,
imagine if.
talking about comic books to TV shows, which there are no shortage of nowadays. Have you checked out
Course.
the Sandman at all?
No, but you were saying it was a thing that was
Uh,
happening.
yeah, I think it just dropped on Netflix. I hadn't seen it yet.
Mm,
I don't know what I don't know what the consensus is, but
excuse
it's
me.
probably mixed because that show was like really that book was really weird.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah.
But that's all, folks. That's all we really got for this one. Thanks for the ride. Thanks for the new listeners for jumping in with us, and the old listeners for coming back. We haven't done an episode since early on in the pandemic.
Right.
And so it was cool to come back. It's cool to come back and hang out with my buddy Dan and talk TV and bullshit. And we, off air, Dan and I talk about this stuff at length. So we really tried the last couple weeks to not talk about the show
It's hard.
as we were watching it. Cause it's hard too with like schedules and stuff to like try to get episodes out every day. And we know that a show like this, people binged like so.
Yeah.
And we didn't binge it. We watched like an episode or two at a time.
Yeah.
And so we wanted to keep it like in our brain because when you binge stuff, it's a different type of watching experience, and you do not pick up on a lot of things. And I wonder if I binge this, if I would have liked it less or more, because I do
Probably
like
more.
it.
Probably
Yeah.
more for me. I think.
Yeah, because
when
you wouldn't have sat thinking on it as much.
exactly, you don't like hyperanalyze each episode. And so I think binging works better for shows that are a lower production quality like this. Whereas like a show like Westworld, a show like Westworld, I like to watch a fucking 20-minute analysis video, maybe 2 of them throughout the week. I'll watch another one later on in the week to like refresh my mind before the next episode comes out. I like breaking down each episode like that. Whereas like a show like this, just eat it up. You know what I mean? And just eat it up, shit it out onto the next. You know what I mean? I think that's what that's how this show is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Let's see. I'm trying to find more info for you guys here. This is from a couple days ago. Most damningly, though, with more than a week of viewership data at its disposal and a 70 score on Metacritic with generally favorable, but not outright a clinical hit. With more than a week of viewership data at its disposal and more money to burn than God knows what to do with, Amazon hasn't announced a second season. The last episode of the first season doesn't resolve the show's major conflicts or serve as a series finale. There's a lot of story left in the comics too. The budget. Worst Paper Girls can't possibly compete with Netflix's budget. Stranger Things has one of the biggest budgets of all television, about $30 million per episode.
my God.
$30 million per episode.
It shows. It shows in season 4. I mean, Jesus Christ! Look at how good like Vecna looked in season 4. Like
Time
that
travel sequences of
amazing.
strange phenomenon in a purple sky look like someone made them on a MacBook Air. The lack of grandeur. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
true. It's true.
Yeah.
It just didn't feel important.
It's in the wrong hands. That's all you can say.
It has a murderer from the future B plot that feels like directly out of the Terminator. Who is this for? What is so muddled about Paper Girls is its audience is unclear. Makes the show seem like it's for the YA crowd, but the show features homophobic and racist language from one of its
True.
characters, Mac, and that an older audience could chalk up to. That's how some people talked in the 80s. The younger viewers could see this as offensive without knowing the context.
Yeah, but that's the point is like it's gonna be about her growth as a human. Like that's the character. You know what I mean? Like being a shitty little kid, and then over time, by the time the show's over, she's gonna grow into a better person. Like that's the point. You know what I mean? And if you can't see that, that's where the story's going. Like what's wrong with you? Like how do you not see that? Fucking 12-year-old kid. She's gonna it's a 12-year-old kid with a death sentence over her head who's gonna probably go to the future, get cured, and then not take life for granted and become a better person. Can you not see that that's her character arc? Come on.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. Well, it is interesting. Let's see if there's any other news about a second.
Cancel Mac.
Stop.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
It looks like Paper Girls cast addressed the possibility of season 2. Okay, this is like 2 days ago. All right. Prime, this is from popsugar.com. Real credible website I've never heard of. Prime Video's adventure series Paper Girls has something for everyone. Coming of age stories, complicated, yada, yada, yada. Right now, it's a little too early to tell. The first season only started streaming the 29th. So it'll probably be well into the fall before Prime Video makes an announcement on way or another. Paper Girls is based on a 30-issue comic book, yada, yada, yada. How does it end? The Paper Girls cast quotes about a possible season 2. Okay, here we go. Okay, so stars of the show. I think it'll be interesting to see how the dynamic will adapt or alter, or maybe even change when the girls possibly or not possibly reunite. Cameron Jones, who plays Tiffany, told Hollywood Life. I would love to see Tiffany's relationship grow with Erin since they are going to be together. I'd love to see how her relationship grows with the other two girls. But I would also love to see comic elements that weren't utilized in season 1 to be presented in season 2. Okay. The character who plays Mac, Sophia Rosinski, she hopes to reveal new sides of her character in a potential second season. She adopted this shell for the environment around her. She has a very rough home life. Rosinski talks with Collider. She has been very strong to survive. It just sounds like everybody's like hopeful that they'll explore more things. It doesn't sound like there's no news at all. There's no news.
Yeah. Don't get your hopes up. Don't get your hopes up.
I won't. I'm not.
And also, like, don't get, if there is a second season, don't get your hopes up for it to be better, because usually a show will be like a company like Amazon or just a big, I'm not gonna say Amazon, but usually shows like this that have like tight budgets already, they're gonna try to find out how they could squeeze more out of it for less, right? So they'll probably give it less budget, if anything, and say like, oh well, they're gonna watch anyway, so we might as well just give it less budget. So that could be possible too. So that's why I say just don't get your hopes up about anything. But I think we're just running out of time here.
All right, let's lock it up. Let's lock and load it, folks. Thanks for listening to the Rudu Cast. Like, comment, subscribe at the Rudu Cast. You can find us on Twitter and Instagram, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Podomatic. We are all over the internet. Just have to look up YouTube. We're on the YouTube. At the Rudu Cast, where you can watch these episodes. Share, like, and subscribe. We'll see you on the other side. I don't know when, but it's been real fun discussing Paper Girls from Amazon Prime. Dan, take us home, buddy.
Thank you. Just like Mike said, thank you for listening and sticking it out for the Paper Girls podcast. Like I said, maybe we'll do Westworld if we feel like it. You might get a little Westworld special this week or next week or whatever. Maybe not. Maybe you don't see us again for 5 years. So if you don't, thank you. I bid you adieu. Top
Farewell.
guys. Deuces.
And gooses.
I have to stop the recording now. Bye.